Well, welcome to this last week of the Gospels Challenge month for Walk Through the Bible. If you've been reading through the Daily Walk Bible, listening to the Daily Walk podcast, or just following along on social media, you know that the month of October, we have been reading through the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And we come this week to the final week of this Gospels Challenge month where we are reading together through the Gospel of John. I hope that this month reading the Gospels again has been just an absolute blessing in your life. In fact, I would love if you would just even maybe add something in the comments below, some ways in which God has worked in your life over these past few weeks as you've been rereading the Gospels, or maybe reading the Gospels for the first time. Share a little bit about how God's been working in your life, or maybe something that you saw or that you learned for the first time in reading the Gospels. We would just love to hear how your life has been impacted by this Gospels Challenge month. Well, we're reading the Gospel of John, and we've got just a few days left in this final Gospel. You know, it goes without saying. I think that we are currently living in a world and in our culture that's pretty divisive. There's a lot of very important political and cultural issues that just are creating all sorts of tension and conflict. And despite having a variety of opinions and different thoughts and beliefs, it's a very polarizing world that we live in. And a lot of tension and a lot of hostility and a lot of conflict. And probably not surprisingly, it seems that the church is even being affected by it. And there's tension and conflict about really, really important conversations that we're having. And there seems to be an increasing divisiveness that's happening in the community of faith. And in that context, I reread this month a prayer that Jesus prays for the church in John chapter 17. And it struck me that it's a pretty profound and important thing that Jesus is praying. John chapter 17, verse 20, he says, My prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who will believe in me through their message, that all of them may be one, Father, just as you are in me and I am in you. May they also be in us, that the world may believe that you have sent me. I have given them the glory that you gave me, that they may be one as we are one, I and them and you and me, so that they may be brought to complete unity. Then the world will know that you sent me and have loved them even as you have loved me. Jesus says really two staggering things to me in this short prayer. The first is that the model that Jesus holds out for what unity in the community of faith should look like is the same unity that exists between the Father and the Son. Jesus says, I pray that they would experience the same unity among the believers, among the Christ followers that exists between the Father and the Son. That is a staggering model and picture of what unity should look like. And then the second staggering thing that Jesus says is that when they possess that unity, then somehow that has an impact in their effectiveness in communicating the good news of the gospel. Jesus prays that we would be one so that, or then the world would see that there's something different about this community. And they would give attention, and then they would begin to believe. As I reread John 17 this week, reading through the Gospel of John again, I was reminded of the importance of fighting for and preserving and contending for the unity of the community of faith. And I just began thinking, or maybe God was stirring something in me to say, like, what am I doing to help fight for the unity of the church? What am I doing, or what are we doing to contend for this unity modeled after the unity that exists between the Father and the Son? What are we doing to fight for, to contend for this unity that exists even in the midst of our world today, which is so polarizing, with so much conflict and so much tension and so much hostility? And I just thought, what's a simple, practical thing that we could do, even today, to just take a step towards this sort of unity that Jesus prays? What's something that you or I could do just today to take a step towards what Jesus prays? Maybe it's picking up the phone and making that phone call that we need to make, just to have that conversation that we've put off. Maybe it's just to be silent and listen to people that think or believe slightly different than we do, people that stand on opposite ends of political or cultural issues, just to stop and listen rather than trying to talk and convince. Maybe it's as simple as just saying, hey, I'm sorry. I really messed that up, and we've got to figure out how to reconcile and make this right. I read John 17 again this month, and maybe just in the context of a very divisive and polarizing world in which we live, I was reminded that what Jesus prays for in John 17, he is praying for the church today. That we would take serious this call, this prayer in the heart of Jesus, to fight for, to contend for, to work towards unity and harmony in his church. What can we do, even today, to take a step towards what we read Jesus praying for in John 17?